Modernist British author Virginia Woolf is one of the 20th century's most celebrated writers and a vanguard of feminism.
You've asked me here to talk to you about women and fiction.
Born and raised in London, Virginia suffered years of familial sexual abuse and the early deaths of many of her closest relatives, resulting in a lifetime of depression.
Virginia Woolf had serious and very debilitating attacks of mental illness. They came at times of great stress. She was visited by voices. She was incapable of getting up.
But also inspiring her to become an advocate for the protection of children. Like most Victorian girls, Virginia was homeschooled, while her brothers received a formal education. The inequality overcome when Woolf went on to study at King's College, bringing her into contact with early women's rights advocates. She began writing professionally in 1900, encouraged by her father. His death in 1905, 10 years after her mother's, led to a total emotional breakdown.
We brought you here to save you from the irrevocable damage you intended upon yourself.
The family relocated to a bohemian district of London favoured by Oscar Wilde, and they formed a community of intellectuals known as the Bloomsbury Group, exploring radical concepts of feminism, individuality and sexuality.
The truth is, I worry I'm not quite allowed to desire in the same way as you.
In 1912, Virginia married Leonard Woolf, while also continuing her love affair with Vita Sackville West. Her first novel was published in 1915, and 2 years later she and Leonard founded the Hogarth Press. Woolf developed a writing style known as the stream of consciousness, exemplified in her 1925 novel Mrs. Dalloway, which abandoned a linear narrative exploring a character's internal chaos, becoming the basis for the movie The Hours 72 years later.
She would buy the flowers.
She followed the novel with To the Lighthouse, and her treatise on gender politics and society, Orlando, inspiring Sally Potter's movie in 1992. In her 1929 essay, A Room of One's Own, Woolf explores how gender inequality suppresses women, often lauded as inspiring feminism. The Waves in 1931 is considered Woolf's most experimental work, exploring individuality, identity and society through 6 character monologues. In 1941, aged 59, in the midst of a deep depression, Virginia Woolf took her own life. Between the Acts was published later that year in the midst of the war in Europe, unifying her ideas of individual responsibility and the rise of fascism. 67 years later, the biopic Vita and Virginia explores the love affair between Woolf and Vita Sackville West.
You know very well that I like you. A fabulous lot.
Virginia Woolf's life continues to influence our world, and her legacy of work empowers us to make it a better place.